everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Good morning.
Or good afternoon.
Wherever you are, or good evening, wherever you are.
Or good night. We don't know.
Yeah. We have Cheryl here, was first in the chat, at least that I can see.
Same. Hi, Cheryl.
And Sing It here from Confused Chicago. Yeah.
Welcome to it. I also am living in a confused land.
Yes. Well, I'll take it because I was really over the ice and all that. And now it's
ice is definitely treacherous for sure.
Now it's around 50 degrees and just a little rainy like always. So I can handle that.
I think that was the one thing about the Pacific Northwest that I liked the best was the constant drizzle meant that any of the allergens that I had suffered from on, the eastern half of the Rockies were no longer affecting me because the rain just kind of mats it all down. It's not sitting there floating in the air the same way it would anywhere else that we had lived. So I really loved it.
There are some benefits.
There's some major benefits.
But one of my favorite times of year is going from winter to spring when we just have these random sunny days. There's something about having just been in a long winter and then having a sunny day that's just magical. And so I enjoy that.
We're not the same.
It's like you have to experience the bad to really appreciate the good. You get to the end of the summer and you're like, I'm so done with hot, sunny days.
Yeah. I'm sick of this muggy weather.
A hot, sunny day or a warm, sunny day, right in the beginning of spring. It's like the most magical thing ever to me.
I think that's wonderful for you.
Oh, right.
I was actually telling Jared this the other day. I said to him, listen, the back and the forth is the part that really drives me nuts. If we're gonna commit to winter, let's commit for the full 3+ months. Let's just do it, hunker down, make it so. And then once it starts to melt off, it needs to go from frozen to not entirely not frozen, like this for me, in order for my brain to switch gears, because the constant back and forth. I loathe the transition between winter and spring.
Do you also loathe between fall and winter?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like the
all or nothing kind of person.
I am. I just make it either blazing hot or freezing cold with snow. Those are my two options where I'm content. And the fact that we have all of our grass, our dead grass out here right now, it gives me such sadness because literally last weekend it was covered in snow. Right. And to me, snow, a very short period of my life, I've lived in snow winter lands. Okay. It was in Alaska. It was in a little bit in northern Arizona, Wyoming, and Wisconsin. There's only been 4 states that we've lived in during the winter when it's been snowy. Utah doesn't count because we were there for spring, summer, fall. So no snow that year. And that year was not snowy. Anyway, I have not lived a long period of time in just straight up snowland, but that's where my heart goes. It's if it is going to be between November and March, there needs to be a blanket of snow so we can either go play in it or do things with it or watch the sun glitter across the top of the snow. I need the snow.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're looking into getting outfitted to go snowboarding here soon.
Ooh, fun.
And I've never done it, and I am so jazzed to go bust my butt.
Yeah. That'll be exciting. Make sure you film it.
I don't know about all that. You see everybody
get a GoPro on your helmet.
I've got the GoPro. I don't know if I want to stick it on my helmet. You see everybody with the Insta360s doing Jared and I are both being fed tons of snowboard content right now because we're just obsessed with it because that's just how we are. Sailing is an obsession for us. This is a new obsession. I grew up skiing. So for me, skiing is so much fun. let's learn something new and different. Jared wants to learn to snowboard instead. And so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so that's all that YouTube thinks that we're interested in now. So I'm like watching all these people and they're just holding out their little Insta360s that has the invisible selfie stick. And so like they just have their arm out there and then you'll catch a shadow of the stick and you're like, do I need one of those? That thing costs like $500. I do not need one of those.
But then you also kind of need one of those.
I do, but I absolutely do not want to spend $500 on another camera when we could just attach a GoPro to Jared and
there you go.
Be happy with our lives.
Wow. Okay. Well, that'll be an adventure. Let's see. Kathy is here from British Columbia.
Ooh, hello.
Is here and she's listening from the office today, so we need to keep it down. Okay.
Oh, I don't have that capacity.
Yeah, we don't do that.
It's all about the earbuds.
Yes. Ron is here from Ron's Keto Cafe. Good morning.
Hello, Ron.
And Blaze is here, of course. Haley is here. Melody Armstrong is here from Georgia. So this was very cold, now rain. That's where we're at. Same. I mean, we're not in Georgia, but same weather.
Yeah.
Sylvia is here from Arizona. Larry is here from a wet Columbia, Tennessee. Interesting.
Ooh.
We have finally completed. Oh, they're all thawed out now, which is good. Yeah, same here. Same here. That Arctic blast. I'm hoping that for us, winter is done. Like that was enough winter in that, like week and a half. I'm ready to not have winter anymore.
It's like the first. It's 2/3 of the way into January. It should not be done yet.
As Chris Bear says, frozen, let it go. Very clever.
I can't. I need it to be frozen always.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like, I would not mind if there was a day where you woke up and it was snowy outside, and the kids got to play, and then it melted the next day or in 2 days. 2 days even is fine. But like the stretching it out and the like freezing rain on top of it, and it's bad. It was like we couldn't hardly walk outside because of how slippery it was.
Sure.
Kids, I should have gotten video of the kids trying to go up the hill to feed the chickens and the goats. It was quite comical. Yeah,
well, you could have
sledding.
You could have turned it into a super fun like home ec project to find something to strap onto their shoes and use thumbtacks to be able to build cleats.
Yes. Need spike shoes for mountain climbing.
Studded shoes. Here we go.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Melody says, I've been using your collagen coffee creamer every day since you came up with the recipe. I love it. Oh, that was a long time ago too. So
that was a very long time ago for sure.
I never hear you talk about it anymore. So the reason for that, well, there's a few reasons. First is I developed that recipe when I was dairy free. And so I used it that whole time when I was dairy free. And then once I added dairy back in, I do enjoy the regular heavy cream. So I just started using the heavy cream again. And then even more recently, I cut out coffee completely. So I haven't been using even coffee. So I haven't been using it as much, for sure. But I still have some. I need to figure out a good way to use it. Maybe like putting it in tea or something. But yeah. It's really good. Like I think as far as dairy-free creamers go, because I did a video sampling a whole bunch of dairy-free creamers, they're mostly terrible. Like my personal opinion, not to offend anyone that does enjoy some of those dairy-free creamers on the market, but they're mostly terrible in my opinion. And that dairy-free creamer recipe is not as good as heavy cream, but it's closer than others.
Sure. Well, as you were talking, I was thinking, could you utilize that in making a batch of hot chocolate, like dairy-free hot chocolate? Isn't the ingredient base very similar?
Yeah. So my hot cocoa mix, it's very similar. It's got the same, collagen, coconut milk powder, and MCT oil powder. And so you could just use it for hot cocoa. Are you okay?
I am not. A hair just decided to like suction itself to my head. in my line of sight. It was like cutting across my eye, across the field of vision, and I couldn't handle it. I have had struggles with my eyes today. I've got like an eyelash or debris turned up into this one eye, and that has been a problem since earlier this morning, but we're going to press on.
Here from Rainy, Mississippi. Okay, so Pause a Lot is the one that won the Element kettle and the chocolate medley, and she said that it just arrived recently, so I'm super excited about that. Hope you're enjoying.
That is so fun.
Chris Bear says they're supposed to be scuba diving right now, but sad face, sounds like they're not scuba diving right now. And if they were scuba diving right now,
I interpreted that.
Not be commenting on YouTube videos.
Yeah. Otherwise, you need to share the technology you're able to use underwater.
That's
to connect to the internet.
Pretty impressive. Hopefully you'll get to do a makeup scuba diving.
Yeah, like what happened there?
We have questions. All right, so Jared has one job, to be a mobile tripod to film you snowboarding.
So listen, when we went kiteboarding, it was so much fun. We did joint lessons at the same time. So we could not sit there and like one film while the other did it, that kind of a thing, which it was so much fun to go. And I was awful at it, but I do wish that I could have some footage of it. Yes. But also in those moments, you are so focused on just like learning a new skill set that you're just like, I do not have the capacity to film myself while also doing this thing. Yes. And, you know, with kiteboarding, you've got hands and feet involved. So, I don't know. These people who figure out like, oh, I'm going to film myself doing everything for the first time. I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity. I cannot divide my brain like that.
It is really amazing how much mental capacity just filming something takes. And it looks so effortless when, you know, you watch the video. You're like, oh, I'm just watching them cook, or I'm just watching them do whatever. And you don't see, and you shouldn't see, and it's by design. But behind the scenes, there is a lot that goes on. It actually capturing it in a full way. Like it's quite a trip sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially for people like us who film for ourselves, you know, like
you don't have a team.
Yeah. And there are loads of creators who are solo creators, and they, you know, they manage it. We manage it somehow, but yeah, it's a little bit tricky whenever you're trying to like imagine in your mind's eye, like, okay, if I'm the one watching this, do I want to see this angle? Or it would be so cool if I could get that angle, but I can't get that angle because I don't know how to translate that in my brain.
Yes. Yeah, it is very tricky. One Hope for All is here. Good morning. Karen is here, and Kay Wilson is here. Yvonne is here. She says Chris Bear should come to Texas and do some scuba diving in backyards right now. Flooding, I assume.
A lot of rain down there right now.
All right. And then Charlotte is here from Virginia Beach. Mary Holt is here. Let's see. Sophia is here from Illinois. Let's see. Try to get caught up here. So we did have a topic that we wanted to chat about today that we will get to, amazingly. Sometimes we just come on here and just go wherever the wind takes us. Sometimes we think ahead of time. You know, those times are pretty rare.
Accurate.
But it does happen. Okay, so got a question here from D. It says, are you still making and eating El Rudera yogurt? Currently, I am not, but I keep wanting to get back to it. I just need to get it done.
Make the time to do it.
Yeah, it's like when you're in the cycle of doing it, and it's easy, but then like that speed bump that you have to go over just to start again, it's difficult. So I am trying to get back into it, but I am not quite there yet. I did try to do the kefir thing for a while, and I talked about this on a Q&A video that's going to come out soon, so I won't go into a lot of detail, except that I just found out I'm not a kefir person. It's just another thing you have to keep alive, and I'm like, I already have children, and I keep them alive, and that's all I can handle.
Goats, chickens,
Yeah.
humans,
Those
fermented cultures.
low on the on the list. So
I loved doing kefir. We got kefir grains and living in Alaska trying to make some ferments last. Like you kind of have to be strategic with how you do that just because of temperatures and stuff. But man, kefir was so much fun for us.
we loved water kefir. I think I like water kefir as far as taste better than milk kefir.
Oh,
And
interesting.
because it's kind of like a soda, like because you can flavor it and
Yeah.
it's like effervescent and like my husband liked it. And so we like making a ginger water kefir, that's really good.
Yeah.
So it was more like a soda drink. I mean, I
Mhm.
like yogurt so much that I'm like, I already want to eat yogurt. I don't really want to have the kefir too. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
It wasn't my
Sure.
thing. But I know it's really
Mhm.
good for you. Okay.
For sure.
Sing It is asking what's in the coffee chat cups. What do you got?
I got black coffee that I can't tip over too far, otherwise it'll spill, and I'm not interested in cleaning that up.
No. I have energized reds and a little bit of the True Endurance from Jonathan Shane. That's become my favorite warm
Warm
morning
beverage.
drink. Yeah, even when I'm not like just about to go out to a workout, I'll still have it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The energized no, the energized reds
Yeah.
as tea. I remember trying it that way for the first time, like however many months back. And I was like, that's the bee's knees right there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, I dig it. It's got the right viscosity, it's got the right flavor. I'm into it. I like drinking it hot way better than cold.
Yeah. And my favorite way to have it, which is the way I almost always have it, even if it's before a workout or whenever, is I'll do one scoop of, because it's a smaller scoop of the energized reds, and then half a scoop
Uh-huh.
of the True Endurance. And
Mhm.
that I like it mixed better than I like either of them separate, even though they're both great
Sure.
separate as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I had something I wanted to talk about real quick before we get to the official
Other
topic of the
topic.
day, but it kind of relates to the True Endurance and the energized reds. Okay, so I did a thing which I'm nervous about. I did a thing that's going to mean that I have to do another thing that I'm really nervous about. Okay. I signed up to run a 10K. You didn't expect that, did you? Like of all the things I could have said.
Wow. I
Okay,
am
so
so excited for you.
I'm excited for me as well. Okay, so I have gotten to know ladies in the neighborhood, and I have my little yoga group and my other exercise group, and I'm getting to know the ladies. And one of the gals that just lives across the street from me, she signed up for this 10K, and she's like, "You should do it too." And I was like, "Okay, get this. It's called the Lilac Run, and it's on
Okay.
April 27th." Which is the day before my 40th birthday. And lilacs are my
That's
favorite
so fun.
flower.
Okay. All right.
So I was like,
We'll
I think
allow
it's
it.
a sign. I think it's a sign that it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm working through that in my mind. And then of course, right after I signed up for it, I'm like, I'm gonna train. And then the snow and the ice came, and I couldn't for a while. So I'm about to start. But why that relates to the energized reds and the True Endurance, of course, I will be utilizing both products in my training. But I was just talking to Jonathan about coming on the channel again and chatting, and like I'm gonna pick his brain on all the things because he's like an ultra marathon runner,
So I got questions.
crazy guy. So, anyways,
Do we?
and he knows all about like women's hormones and stuff. So, like, just all of that
Sure.
stuff, I'm gonna find out all of it in with him. It'll be fantastic. Okay, what do you want to know?
I wanted to know, like, is it wise to take advice from an ultra amazing marathon runner dude? It's just a
Okay,
10K.
well, you got to start somewhere, and he had to start somewhere. It's like
That's
he didn't
valid.
just start being an ultra marathon runner. He has a story. He has a journey.
He does have a
So
story.
I'm just on a different place in my journey towards becoming an ultra marathon runner.
I'm so excited for you. No, I think it's great. I think it's so great. And it's going to be a blast. And I will cheer on the sidelines.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though I won't be there.
Well, you could be there. I mean, you could get your plane tickets
You're
now.
right. I have nothing to do in my life. It's fine.
Anyways, so that's what I'm going to be doing the next few months is training for a 10.
Yeah.
And there you go.
So when doing that, do you just like do double of the couch to 5K thing?
See, that's what I want to ask Jonathan, because I've looked at a few different like apps and stuff, like Couch
Sure.
and stuff. And like there was one where it's like you do the 5K program first and it takes however long, and then you move to the 5K to 10K program, which that makes sense. So, but you got
logic.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I think I'm going to hang out with my balance board and my mini trampoline.
Hey, that sounds great. No, I've really been enjoying getting consistent with the exercise, and it is still mind-boggling to me how much having a community of people doing it with you helps. Like, and that's me. That's because of me.
Sure. Yeah.
Like whatever I have going on, something about being in the room with other people and doing it with them is way more motivating than doing it by myself.
Sure.
Even when we were having our exercise classes, we had them online for a week because just on Zoom because of the ice. Mm-hmm. Even though like I'm on Zoom, they're doing it live. We weren't in the same room. It was harder for me to be like, I'm going to work extra hard. Like, I don't like, that's weird, right? Like, but it's a thing.
Yeah. I think that is a thing. I think a lot of people tend to learn really, really well in group settings where you're aware that it's not just you in your own head.
Yes.
Like there's some level of we're all a school of fish swimming in the same direction. Yeah. Whereas like whenever you're solo, you're just the shark kind of lurking at the bottom.
Yeah.
Not really exerting as much.
Yeah, it's like we're in this together. We're doing something together. And if we're doing it together, like I'm not gonna slack. Like
you care about not dragging somebody else down.
Yes.
If they see you not giving 100%.
Yes. So I don't know.
For sure.
It has been very eye-opening and like, man, this is important for me. So anyway, that's it's all good.
It's very good. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as the topic that we were going to chat about today, Lindsay came up with it. So do you want to open up the topic of conversation?
Okay. So I was pretty fired up a couple weeks ago about the concept of armchair experts and the concept that people who have either an equivalent volume of knowledge or less trying to speak as if they were experts when they are not.
Yep.
And it's this whole concept of, and maybe it's just because I personally prefer whenever people talk to me as if they're saying, my personal experience is this, and this is what I have learned for myself. Mm-hmm. And then I can take from that, I can harvest from that and say, if that was true for them, what is true for me? You know, because my body's chemistry is different. Or my experience homeschooling is different. My experience fermenting foods is slightly different. Just a tangent here. I did ferments for a really long time. I understood the ins and outs of all of my kombucha scobies, of my sourdough, sprouting my things, doing all of the different things. I never once would try to say, I am an expert in fermenting foods. I would probably say, like, here's how I did this. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but this is effective for me. So this is applicable to many people, but you are not the one I was thinking about.
You probably think this rant is about you.
Nope, this is not about you. This actually stemmed from a homeschooling podcast from some people who homeschooled for a short period of time and then spoke as if they were experts on the subject. I personally do not believe that very many people can be true experts in homeschooling because every kid is different and every family is different. So, you can share your experience and here's some things that I tried. Have you considered? And then leave it there. But to speak authoritatively on a lot of things, to speak authoritatively on this is what this is, period. And if you're not following my defined terms, then it's not the thing. And I think that's where I kind of get a little bit fired up about armchair experts is that they try to make definitions and then they try to tell people that they are wrong if they do not adhere to or fall in line with that armchair expert's definition.
Yes.
And they can come across very authoritative and very much so like I am correct because I'm using the proper tone and look at my fancy condenser microphone in front of my face. And I've got somebody sitting there parroting back to me in this room. So clearly I've got, following that supports me. And when it comes to keto, I think that it can be a broad spectrum of proper human diet. I appreciate Dr. Berry for coining that phrase for us. And people will sit there and try to speak authoritatively about the things. And then you hear something wrong and you're like, that doesn't add up with all of the information that I have researched from multiple sources. I have experienced for myself. And yet this person is speaking authoritatively. And there are people responding to them like, wow, you are absolutely right. Almost idolizing them. And that got me fired up a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And I don't know how to segue from that.
Yes. Okay. So that's something that I try to be really, really careful not to do. There are very few things in life that I will sit there and say 100% I know that I'm right. There are things that I think I'm right about, but even when I talk about them, I try to do it in such a way that is just, I'm sharing my experience. And if you have a different experience, that's fine. When someone says something very authoritatively, the only responses you can give them are agreement or a fight.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. When I talk about something, especially diet and health related, where there are very few like concrete 100% truths for every human being on the planet, I want to just say, this is my experience. And then when someone responds, they can fight, which they often do.
Of course.
Not often, but sometimes do. They can agree, or they can have the opportunity to share their own experience or say, have you thought about this side of it? Like, it opens up a whole lot more conversation options where we can work together and figure things out. Because like even sometimes where I've said something on a video and someone comes back and says, I don't really think that's right because of this, this, and this. And then we have like a little dialogue and, sometimes I change my mind. Sometimes they change their mind. And like, that's a beautiful thing. But when you just speak authoritatively, and there are certain creators out there, both people that I don't think are experts and people that I do think are experts, that have a way of communicating that just either asks for a yes or an argument. And those are the kind of creators that I kind of, shy away from. Like, I don't really appreciate their hearing what they have to say. I mean, and what they have to say might be true. Some of it might be, very true, but it's just, it doesn't jive with the way that I think and I learn. It seems to more appeal to people who want a tribe to follow.
For sure.
Like, I want the one holy person to tell me all the holy truths, and then I will beat down anyone who says something different and proclaim, what I heard from the holy person.
Right.
Like,
yes.
I'm so not excited about that when it comes to diet and nutrition. Like,
Right.
It's just
Absolutely.
not what I want.
Agreed. And I think it speaks to the fact that whenever you've got someone who is a good leader, they tend to bring people up and along with them
Yeah.
rather than just like authoritatively this, walk away. And I actually started having these thoughts probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. I've got some notes in my phone where I was like, there are some experts out there who are experts in specific narrow fields of study. And then people kind of jump on the bandwagon, this holy prophet of this one thing. And then they want to know that one holy prophet's version of, okay, so if you're speaking about health and wellness, well, what do you think about money? What are
Mm.
your financial like recommendations for me? Because if you know about diet, you have to know about this too. And it's like, allow experts to sit in their field of study or their
Mhm.
area of expertise and don't expect them to also be experts who can, answer everything for you at all times. And it's easy to see how cult leaders can become cult leaders when you see things like that. Like one person all of a sudden has an answer, so let's view them as if they have all answers.
Yes.
Those
Yeah.
are logical fallacies that are really hard to sit there and, I like to read comments on videos that I'm watching and sort of just like see what I honestly I read comments to sort of get a head start on what the content coming down the
Yeah,
pike is.
I do that
And
too.
and I watch videos on double speed, so it's not going any faster for me.
Right.
So I want to know like what's in store here, like what's coming up next. Is this video worth my time, even at half the minutes necessary to watch it? And if people are constantly just chirping and parroting the whole like, yes, you're the right one, you're amazing, you did, like, and I'm like, blessed assurance, can we pause and think for a minute? Can we? I mean, I'm with you though on I don't want to ever come across as an expert in anything. I'm not even an expert in myself. I have
Yeah,
a
we're figuring it out.
broad yeah, I have a broad volume of knowledge, a broad, variety of topics that I have learned lots of information about. I am literally an expert in zero things. I
Mm.
don't even think I'm an expert in my own family or myself. So I'm learning every single day. And I think that I also kind of whenever I start to listen to some information and it comes from from an armchair expert, I automatically shut down because they sound unteachable or
Oh,
like they are not capable of growing beyond that point. And
yeah.
I, for one, love to see some transformation in people, even if they are experts, and just sort of watch their progression through like their whole journey or experience.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
So an example of someone who is an expert in an area,
Uh-huh.
um, Dr. Ben Vickman. Have you listened to much?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so he's an expert in metabolism. Like he is so
Yes.
smart. He knows so much. But you listen to him talk, he is just the nicest, most humble, like
Mm-hmm.
self-deprecating guy like
Yes.
when you hear him talk. And that's like I see him as teachable. Like he would admit if he had gotten something wrong.
Yeah,
He
for
would
sure.
receive from someone else some information and like maybe change his perspective. I think he's a good example of an expert because it's not bad to be an expert and to like say
No.
you're an expert in, but there's a
Right.
way that you can carry yourself that can, I don't know, it connects with me more. I know there
100%.
are, like I said, there are people out there looking for that, person to follow that everything they say is, to be inscribed
Perfection.
on tablets of stone and 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 we, repeat them and chant them to ourselves every day or whatever. But like for me, like when I'm listening to an expert, I want to learn from them, but I also there's like a demeanor that is really helpful for me coming
Yeah.
from them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The
Yeah.
heart
So,
attitude is really kind of where it makes or breaks for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And whenever I hear, like I said, when I hear somebody tell me information that flies in the face of multiple pieces of other information that I've had, I do appreciate cognitive dissonance. But
Yeah.
whenever there's only one voice going against all of these other actual experts, it gets me up in arms and it makes me actually like feel a little bit like I need to fight for the people who are saying in the comments like, you're so right, you've never steered me wrong, you must be absolutely right about this too. And it's like, oh, you need a protector from yourself. I
Well,
can't.
it is interesting how when you're talking about, if someone's an expert in this area, then we want to know what they are doing, with their money and all this stuff. It makes me think of
Sure.
like, like the Taylor Swift phenomenon, where it's like, yeah, she's a great singer. Like she's a talented singer.
Musician.
Do we
Sure.
need to dress like her and like everything about her life, like emulate like these people? It's like they want to like know everything about her and emulate everything about her. And it's like, can't we just enjoy that she's a good singer? Like, that's fine.
Right. Oh,
Why
for sure.
put her up on this pedestal of like everything you do is magical or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
there's
And
something in us that wants to do that.
yeah, I think that there is a level of room or like a specific amount of room for vetting someone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I can say, okay, I appreciate this person's financial advice, but I want to vet that they're actually like living that way or they're doing the things that are in line with that thought process or that advice that they are giving or that method that they're applying. And so you want to know a little bit of the backstory, or if it's somebody Dave Ramsey, he's got a whole variety of creators like under his label. And, you've got like the relationship people and Rachel Cruz talking about like how her family life goes. And it's like, if she's talking about her family life, it's valuable to say, is she actually like living that out?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can say, okay, it does work for her. So maybe there is some like validity to that.
Right.
But also like an expert like Ben Vickman, I'm going to go to him and ask questions about insulin. I'm not going to go to him and ask him about the War of 1812
Sure.
and
You could
expect to
know a
get
lot about,
first.
who knows?
I was just trying to come up with anything. Can you talk to me about the Oxford comma?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well,
So
and then
it's just
I'm also not gonna like join the Ben Vickman cult and try to do everything he does and repeat everything he says. It's like I have found in my journey that not any one single person has ever articulated everything I need for my health
yes.
and wellness journey.
Mm-hmm.
I get it from a variety of people. And so like
Mm-hmm.
as far as YouTube and me sharing, it's like there's this pressure to have all the answers or to make all these, teaching videos where I'm like, I have to teach about this and I have to teach. But what I have come to realize about my own channel is what I want to be is like a friend to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, because we all have friends and all of our friends have different strengths and different weaknesses. And so, if I want to learn about fermenting and sourdough, I'm going to come to you because you've done it. Like you have experience with it. And I'm going to get that piece of information from you. Now, I'm going to go to Jonathan when I want advice about running a 10K.
You're not coming to me for that.
I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to.
I appreciate you not doing that.
And that's fun. Like that's the way that we as humans are supposed to interact. Like we're not supposed to find one person that gives us everything we need for life. That's usually a cult.
Or your mother.
Right.
If you're a small child, your mother does know everything. Stick to her.
That's if you find yourself as, an adult and that's still happening, then, I'd say there's probably something that needs to be worked on there. But
There's opportunities to learn.
yeah, the way that we're supposed to grow is we receive from all different sources.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. So when I am on my YouTube channel sharing, I don't have the pressure of being everything to everybody. I am just sharing what I have to share. And so I don't expect that anyone out there will have, my channel is the only channel they're subscribed to, and they get all of their information for life from me. No, they're going to have, they're subscribed to mine. They're going to subscribe to Ben Vickman, and they're going to subscribe to Dr. Barry, and they're going to, grab information from all different places. And that's like the best way to grow.
Agreed. And they're also not going to say, Dr. Barry, Nili actually said, so therefore you're wrong.
Oh, I've had lots of comments like that. Well, didn't you know Dr.
Actually,
Barry
Nili,
said this?
Have you ever watched Dr. Barry before?
Wait, who? I actually got that comment on my last video about iron, where it was like, you should really listen to Dr. Barry and Dr. Chafee. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Never heard of them before.
Appreciate you telling me things.
Like, I don't know what I would do without.
But also, it's one of those situations where you're like, I don't want to discourage people from trying to help. Like, I don't want to
Right.
harden myself to no longer be humble enough to receive
Absolutely.
somebody else's suggestion. Because that can also happen too. The whole the whole armchair expert thing is really gross to me. But then also being someone who shares things in a sharey way, and then being like too proud to receive some sort of recommendation or advice or suggestion from my viewers, that feels just as gross. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, how do you make sure that other people are aware that you're coming from this level of knowledge or this level of experience for yourself without, making the video 8 hours long.
Yeah.
So in those moments, it's just like, bless. Yes, I have.
Cynthia said, do you have to start all your comments with from my opinion or from my perspective or personal experience? 2KK are always saying the line that they are not doctors or health professionals. Yeah, with YouTube especially, you do have to be careful about that, not make any kind of health claims. If you do this, this will happen.
Right.
As long as it's, I'm just sharing my personal experience, which, we both say often, but we would say that even if YouTube didn't have that, that rule.
Accurate.
Because
yes.
it really is true. Like, we're just sharing our opinion, and we don't want people just to, take our advice and just emulate exactly what
run with it
in any aspect. It's just like we were talking about, we experience life with a lot of people, friendships in person, YouTube people we follow, all different things, and we they all affect our lives in some way. But it's not like a doctor-patient relationship at all. It's
For
like
sure.
a friend. And I have friends where I don't emulate their diet and lifestyle choices. But I'm still friends with them, and I learn other things from them, and receive things from their relationship that are different than that. So we always, in the end, we all choose our own adventure, and we can learn things from other people, but it's always our own. In the end, it's what we decide is best for us. There you go.
And on the flip side of that, as someone commenting on YouTube videos, I don't think it's necessary to say, in my opinion, or this is what I think, or my experience is this. I don't think that as a viewer commenter on videos that you need to add in all those disclaimers. I think that the onus is more on the creator receiving the comment to say, okay, this is this person's experience. This is this person's comment. They're not trying to dictate at me how to live my life. I mean, some people are. But I'm gonna try to sit on the side of the fence that says this person just wants to share information with me, and does not know whether or not I have that same information at this point.
Right. Okay. Well, an example of a comment where I was like, oh my, I got a comment just a couple days ago on my iron update video, saying that, my iron had increased and that things were looking up. The comment was just basically, you need to add beans to your diet. because beans are a natural source of iron. And if you do, magical things will happen. Like, it wasn't like, in my opinion, or I did this and it had this effect. It was, no, you need to add beans to your diet because magical things will happen. And I don't
When
typically
you say it like that,
I don't typically
it makes me
respond.
think beans being fruit.
Yeah, I don't typically respond to those kind of comments because I'm just like, it's them leaving that comment is more about them than it is about me. It's just like,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
they can leave that and think, they've done a service to the world. Anyways, but my thought in response to it was like, if that's true, why are vegans typically anemic? Because they eat a lot of beans. That's one of the biggest things in a vegan diet. And it's very well known that vegans and vegetarians struggle with anemia more than meat eaters. And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's so easy to disprove, but the passion and the confidence in which it was stated.
for sure.
Okay, thank you.
For sure.
And then
Yeah.
my other response is, I did add beans for quite a while, a few months ago. It was last summer, after I worked on my gut and I could tolerate beans again. Didn't fix my problem. So magical things did not happen for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just one example.
For sure. I do think like the reason I got so fired up about this armchair expert idea or concept was just the fact that I see so many people just falling in lockstep with an armchair expert without actually coming through and vetting that person or vetting the information against other information. Like, I want to hear both sides of an argument or 18 sides of an argument because I want to be able to sort of tunnel through it all and say, okay, do I understand this? Okay. If I understand this, does this make sense to me logically? Can I make the proof from the information? Yes or no? And I don't know that a lot of people that are commenting things like, you are like so incredible, like basically idolizing an armchair expert. I don't know that they go through and do those things. And I just want to like protect the people from them. I want to protect them from bad information, but also, who am I? I'm not an expert,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
I feel that. I feel that where it's like you see this, what you consider to be bad information, and people receiving it as, truth, and you're like, I want to stop that. But then you're not the kind of person that just goes out there and declares what you think is true to the world. So you're like, you just kind of keep it to yourself.
You just sit on it.
It's those other people that are really confident in themselves and ready to share with the world all the information, whether it's right or wrong, and that are talking.
Yeah, and I tend to be a bulldozer in a lot of situations. So I don't want to turn around and become a bulldozer in those scenarios because there's not a chance on this planet that I'm going to give somebody else information in a bulldozer kind of way that they can actually receive. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And also, that's not the way I want people to receive information. I would rather that, like, whenever I started learning about how to get rid of sugar and how to eat in a way that was actually benefiting my body, I could not take information from people saying, well, you need to do it like this.
Yeah.
I could take it from people who said, hey, this is what this is, and this is how this responds in your body. Do with it as you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be that sort of a voice in general.
Yeah. Same.
So
yeah. Yeah.
And now that we've talked it through, I don't think I have as many like big feelings about it anymore.
Okay, good. All right. This has been your Lindsay's therapy session to work through. Yeah. It's tough. And so like, cause I'll see things and I'm like, I want to comment, whatever this, or, when I get comments from people that are armchair expert comments, I want to respond back and be like, you don't even know what you're talking about, but typically I'm just like, like you said, that doesn't usually work to actually change anything. Sometimes it can make you feel better in the moment to just get it out.
For sure.
But it typically doesn't make a lot of change long term. I just try to live my life in such a way that if anyone is receptive to learning from, what I have to say, that they'll learn it. Like, Like
Yeah.
I just live. And
Mhm.
and it's usually not the people that think they're 100% right about everything and are going to be, leaving those comments that are going to be receiving what I have to say. It's going to be the people that are searching and that are more open to it, and that's the people that I want to cater to anyway, you
For
know.
sure.
I mean,
For
there
sure.
are definitely creators out there that they want to cater to the people that want to argue with them. Like they're
Mhm.
trying to,
Stir it up.
that, and that's fun to watch sometimes. But that's not what I'm interested in. That would be so
Yes.
stressful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So that was kind of where my pent up energy was.
Yes. Yes. And we got it out. Sing It says it takes humility on the influencer's part to say, I don't know, or outside my scope, to block people from growing a chia pet guru. Oh, that's amazing.
Well, and I tell you what is hard whenever you are trying to make a jobby or an actual like income from being a creator online is you can kind of get it in your head that if I don't give the information this person wants, then
Mhm.
they aren't going to come back to me for any other information. And so then I'm hurting myself along with not, serving the audience. It can be pretty difficult to parse out and say, you know what, this is not my area. And if they choose to go away, that's their choice. But also, I'm not going to try
Yeah.
to manipulate them into staying by answering questions that are beyond, like you said, beyond the scope of my
Right.
understanding.
Right. And it is hard because like if you watch any kind of information about how to grow your YouTube channel, one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest recommendations, and it's a good recommendation to think about, but it's harder to implement long term, is you're supposed to look at what problems your audience has and offer solutions to them. So,
Sure.
you know, if my audience is a keto audience and their problem is being bored with their food, like I'm supposed to think about what solutions can I offer to that, which is it's great. And
Sure.
it's a great way to like try to think about what kind of content you want to create. But then it also pushes you to be an expert constantly. Like, how can I be an expert? How can I be the one that dispenses the knowledge to everyone, how to fix their problem? And so it can be kind of tricky. But it is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the way that they say to grow a YouTube channel, which makes total sense. Yeah.
And I
Um,
think there's some level of just like feeling good about yourself whenever somebody cares about your opinion. That kind
mhm,
of gives you a little bit of an ego boost. You care a little bit about the fact that like somebody said that that meal looks amazing or what have you, and you're like, I enjoy getting that compliment. I am
mhm,
going to do what I can to get more of that compliment.
mhm.
Like baseline drivers right there. And it's one of those humility things that we as creators have to really
Yes.
really take hold of and not let go.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Claudia says it's easy to profess knowledge from afar. Individuals must maintain their own self, not leaning into the masses. It's a lonely journey, but occasionally we land in a group that is supportive. Yeah, I
Hmm.
totally agree. Totally agree.
For sure.
Well, Cindy is here.
Hi,
What did you miss,
Cindy.
Cindy? You're gonna have to go back and listen on double speed.
Yeah. I tell you what, that double speed, like it saves so much time, and my brain actually can focus in on the information better than whenever it's on a single speed. Or I mean, like even 1.5, I can try to stay focused, but double speed forces me to focus hard.
Okay, question for you. Can't for the life of me find the sloppy Joe recipe you referred to recently. Do you
Okay, I actually linked that in the iCards when I mentioned the actual recipe before I actually showed it. So it is in the little iCards. Whenever you go to a YouTube video, occasionally in like one of these little corners, there's a little bitty blurb of information that pops up, and if you click there, it is there. But I can also go and
oh,
edit my
is this the
description.
THM one?
Well, it's THM friendly, yeah, but it's my recipe.
Okay, it says THM recipe, sloppy joes. It's your video. Is that it?
Is it a red plate
Yes,
and broccoli's on it?
I think so. Yeah.
That's the
I'll
one.
just put that in the chat here. Donk. Okay.
And then that recipe is also on my website. I should have just like plugged in my website address like right in there for it, but I'm pretty sure I failed on that detail thing. I'm detail deficient. That's where I am.
D says it worked for Jack, referring to the beans. They were
and the beanstalk.
Yeah, they were pretty magical for him. Kel says, question, any recommendations for a non-dairy coffee creamer? Can't do dairy or nuts. Okay, we talked about this just at the beginning of the video. We were talking about I have a recipe video for a coffee creamer that I make with coconut milk powder and MCT oil powder and collagen. Let me pull it up here real quick. I can't talk and type at the same time.
As an aside, coconuts are technically fruit, but some people do struggle with those. So
yes. Let's see.
If you have struggles with the coconut, this is not going to be the one for you. But MCT oil powder really does help to creamify things.
For sure. So. And I like the micro ingredients brand. If for whatever reason, it's just creamier than the others. It just is.
There are numerous like low carb friendly baking ingredients that I have found micro ingredients to be great. Like their pure monk fruit powder, fantastic. Their allulose is good. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that I've tried from them, but I can't offhand recall. But everything that I've tried from them, I've enjoyed so far. So
Judy is here late, but she's going to watch the replay because she had company. I hope you had fun with your company.
Absolutely.
That's important. Let's see. D says, I wonder if some of those comments are because people know that comments help the content creator and that that's an easy comment to make. Sure. Yeah.
That's valid. I did not consider that.
Yeah. Comments do help with engagement and that's always a good thing for YouTube. So can't complain.
For sure.
Let's see. Let's see. Cynthia says, yep, you can't stop people from joining cults. And by being a bulldozer, you push them to the cult by giving them the argument. Yeah. They're like, well, I'm definitely not going the direction you're trying to go. So I'm going to go the absolute opposite direction.
There's too much dissonance here. I need to go to my confirmation biases.
Yeah. Oh, Cindy says that she had a gross comment on the latest video. And she replied, to each their own. Yeah. And don't forget that comment helps your algorithm.
That's right.
Oh, I had a great, okay. So one of the greatest things about YouTube for my own personal development has been that I'm able to hear something from a comment and then let it roll off my back. For example, I laughed out loud at this comment I got yesterday. It was, I don't remember what video it was on, but they were making fun of my crooked nose. They were like, is your nose pressed up against glass that we can't see?
Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing.
That's so creative and so rude. But like, I was very happy with like how I laughed at it, and I'm like, I block the person. If someone's gonna just, be
ugly
rude
to you
for the sake of being rude, like I'm gonna block them, but I'll laugh at it. Like it's one of those things where it's just like, wow. But at other points in my life, that might have bothered me for a while, but not anymore. Okay.
That's funny. I don't get those kind of fun comments. Dag nabbit, I need to.
Nose is so straight and beautiful.
It's very large, though. I do have a big nose. When I was younger, middle school-ish age, my best friend, she used to call me Mondo thighs and tell me I had a pelican nose.
Oh, well, that's a great friend.
It was love. I loved her. still do.
Oh, that's funny. Well, and there's things about all of us that are different, or,
Yeah.
and
Oh
it's like
yeah, they're distinctive.
be able to just laugh about it and like it's like we shouldn't have to be in denial of it. Like, no,
Oh,
I
for
need
sure.
I need everyone to believe, and I need to believe that my nose is not crooked. Like, like uh,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like, no, like just laugh about it and move on. Like it's just so silly.
Oh, for sure. I think I might have given him a cry laughing emoji and let that sit there for a little bit before blocking them just to see if they would respond again.
Oh, it's so funny. People are so bizarre. Um, Commenting in incomplete sentences, as most are these days, can be so misunderstood as well. My husband is constantly hurting his mother's feelings via short to the point texts. Yes, that is a thing. And there have been times where I will get a comment and I'll be like, that is so rude. And then like later, like I'll see it and be like, oh, I think I misunderstood what they were saying. Because, there's just when you're looking at words on a screen, it's just different. So,
Well, and it depends on what frame of mind you're in that moment. Like, if you're in a happy-go-lucky mood, you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, blah blah blah."
true.
But then if you're like a little bit frazzled,
Yeah,
you're like, "This person's the worst."
yeah, exactly. And so it does help, like, if you're not 100% sure, just to give it some time and maybe come back to it and be like, "D was it really as bad as I initially thought?" And sometimes it
I
is.
like the follow-up question.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry, could you give me some context?
Yeah, yeah.
I could
Need
use
some
context here.
more information. Okay. Rickwin is here. She was late as well at the
Hi,
dentist.
Rickwin.
Gonna watch the
I hope the dentist went
replay.
well.
Yeah. Um, Sing It says 2 times or 1.5 times speed is the way to go. Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
I've gotten into it. Although I did notice that when I was listening to some vlogs that had like music added and stuff, I was like, that sounds bad when they double speed the music. So sometimes it doesn't work. It works the best for like an interview or just a podcast type thing. But
Yes.
definitely. And now I
Yes.
never had done the double speed to catch up on like a live stream that's already started. And now I do it
Mhm.
all the time. It's so great.
That's my favorite way to use it.
Okay.
Although there are moments when I'm like, I would rather just like 1.5 speed it so that way I don't like I end up at the same spot at the end almost, but
Okay.
yeah, it's
Cynthia
a good
wants to
time.
know if we can speak as armchair experts on what is the difference between coconut oil and MCT. Well, let me tell you, because I have studied this and I know exactly the truth.
I actually was just in the lab working on this a minute ago.
Yeah. I discovered coconut oil and MCT oil.
Accurate. Accurate. It
No.
happened.
Basically, from my understanding, which could be wrong, is that MCT is a derivative of coconut oil. So coconut oil
Mhm.
has MCT in it, but it also has
Mhm.
other uh, ch- um, triglyceride chains, not just the medium ones. And
Mhm.
they extract it from the coconut oil. So it's more concentrated in that specific medium chain size. And then there's also
Yeah.
different kinds of MCTs. Like there's numbers, and I don't know all the details on that. Maybe you do, Lindsay. Do you?
It's crazy, Cynthia, that you're asking this question today because this morning I listened to a podcast discussing MCTs as compared to coconut oil. Coconut oil from this podcast, not from Lindsay, from this armchair expert, was that coconut oil has the C12 version of the MCTs. MCTs are C6, C8, C10, and C12. And the C8 is the one that you want in order to improve your ketone functioning, to give you just like straight up ketones, that kind of thing for cognitive functioning and whatnot. C10s are okay-ish. C6s apparently are very goaty. Like apparently like um the words like capric, caprolic,
Uh-huh.
that's what the C is, and it means goat, I believe is what they said in Latin or Greek.
Wow.
I can't remember. But it was like it's derived from the word, like the word is derived from
Okay.
either
Okay.
the Latin or the Greek for goat. And the C6s are ones that actually are the best for the cognitive functioning and all of those things, but people are not going to consume it because it does not taste great. So
Huh.
the C8s are then the ones that people will consume regularly. Coconut oil itself has a high volume of C12s and will not give you the same kind of response that MCTs would give you. And also, this guy was saying that MCT oil powder tends to give less gastric issues, like digestive issues, than the liquid, which I
Yeah.
have also found to be true in my life. And that women tend to have a higher responsiveness in the negative to MCT oil than men when it comes to like the digestive upset. So
Interesting.
going slower for women is more advisable in general.
So I have heard that goat milk is high in MCT. Wait, is that right? Or goat cheese? I guess it would have to come from the milk. Is that have something to do with the name?
I think it does have something to do with that, but double check that, do some research.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Very fascinating. Um, okay. Chris has a nerdy answer as well. You take C12, 12 carbons and longer out of the coconut oil, and you are left with C8 and C10. There you go.
Ta-da! But or C12 is still technically considered in the medium chain category,
Okay. Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
from what I understand. Like
Okay.
I said,
But it's not as good as the C8 and C10
yeah,
for
it won't give you the ketogenic or the keto, like the ketone effect the way that C8 will.
yeah. Okay. Jen Bob wants to know how to play on double speed
Double speed.
on YouTube.
There is a little gear on all the videos, typically like somewhere around this range, maybe up here.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
quite
yeah,
remember. There's a little gear, and if you click on that, you can choose playback speed, and then you can choose the speed you wish to listen to. You can also slow videos down. So if you find somebody talking at breakneck speed and you need them to sort of just like slow down a smidge, you can actually slow them down too.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Rickwin says that she watched the same video.
Aha.
Also listened to the one mixing MCT and coconut oil for issues like Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
Very
I
interesting.
can remember my grandfather, Caitlin, my oldest, she must have been about 3, maybe. I think Molly was born. Oh, she would have had to have been born if Caitlin was 3. But my grandfather was in Alzheimer's, like having, he was, uh, he had Alzheimer's. There's the way to say that. And my grandmother had looked into some different, bits of research here and there, and she had found a study on patients with Alzheimer's and dementia having a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil in their oatmeal every day helped to improve their cognitive function enough to where this one particular patient was unable to draw a clock face.
Hmm.
Numbers were everywhere, kind of a wonky
Yeah.
shape, like face. And then after, I don't know how long the period, like the trial period was, but they were
Mhm.
able to create a circular clock face with numbers on the inside of it. So, and that was the only difference that they allowed in that trial. So I was like, that's pretty impressive.
It
And
is.
so what was that, like 2013, give or
Hmm.
take? So, I love the fact that they've been looking into this stuff
Yeah.
for so long, and we're still trying to find out more information about it all.
Yeah. Well, and then it gives at least something to do because with Alzheimer's, especially, it was always just like, there's nothing you can do. It's just going to get worse. And that's it.
Yep.
And not that coconut oil cures Alzheimer's or anything like that,
No.
but it's like something
If
you
you
can
can see
try.
some minor improvements
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
something that is as innocuous as coconut oil,
Yeah.
That's worthy of some sort of attention.
Yeah, it's like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You add some coconut oil to your diet.
You could get diarrhea.
That's it. Yeah, you could. Cynthia wants to know what the podcast was.
Ah, I do not remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Rickwin, do you remember?
Yeah.
There are so many.
Okay, I know. There really are. Yeah, so Chris has an interesting comment about, and I've heard him talk about this before, when he was doing his experiments with different kinds of fat in keto chow, he found that the MCT really raised his triglycerides and lowered his HDL, which is really interesting. I wonder, I mean, everyone's different, and so I don't know if that's just
For
something that
sure.
is special about Chris, or if that's, I mean, it'd be something interesting to look at. If you
That
know,
is interesting.
if you're planning on like having lots of MCT oil in your diet, I think having it every once in a while is probably not gonna be a big deal. But then
Yeah, don't make your homemade mayonnaise with MCTs.
if you want to have it, regularly for whatever, maybe test it out and see what it does, because it could do something you don't expect.
Well, and
Oops.
what's interesting with Chris, obviously he's a man, so I wonder, and the whole idea that MCT oils affecting women more strongly. I wonder what the impact, like if there's any kind of a correlation there with the impact on how it
Yeah,
um, affects your blood numbers and stuff like that.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Ha 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 ha.
Rick Wynn
Thank you, Rick
for
Wynn.
us. Dr. Gundry's podcast, The Insane Benefits of MCT Oil. Fascinating. All right, we've been on here for over an hour now. Well over
Yes.
an hour.
My
But
girls are done with all of their schoolwork today, but there are chores that are needing to be double checked.
yes,
For
yes.
sure.
Well, one daughter is out there making pancakes right now, so I need to make sure the house isn't burning down or anything like that. Jennifer says,
Valid.
never been able to join a live before, so welcome.
Oh,
Ohio
yay!
in here. Welcome. Okay. Real quick. D is asking, if you bake with coconut oil in your low carb bread, does that negate the good effects? I don't think so.
I don't think that logically that makes any sense. Whenever you bake with like butter or you bake with tallow or anything like that, I mean, it's all fat, so I don't know how it would break the bonds in a negative way.
So I've heard that if you have just plain MCT oil, you shouldn't heat that. I don't know how
Okay.
accurate that is, but I guess that when it's extracted, it's more fragile or something.
Uh-huh.
But
Huh.
don't quote me because I don't know for sure that that's true. I've just heard people say it before.
Sure.
We
Sure.
know that even when people say things that sound really, confident, doesn't always mean it's true.
And authoritative. That's
Yeah,
right.
but as far as coconut oil, I don't think that there's any problem with that because it's, solid at room temperature. It's like a good
Stable.
stable. That's the word I was looking for. Stable oil.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Want to make sure I'm not missing anything that we need to address. This is from BK. You made a video about getting half a cow from a butcher. It was very interesting and love the walkthrough of the process. Have you ever done the same with pork? Thoughts of doing a video? I have not ever done a side of pork or a whole pig. I'm interested in doing it at some point. So I will definitely keep that in mind. If I do, I will try to film the process. And I do recommend, if you're going any kind of side of meat or whole animal, go to the Bearded Butchers YouTube channel, because I assume they have one for pork, because they have lots of different animals, but they do like breakdowns of the whole process and show like all the different cuts of meat you can get from all the different parts of the animal. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would, if you're wanting to do pork, go watch that video and you'll get all kinds of amazing ideas. But I will definitely keep that in mind for
Yeah.
this and when we do that.
Yeah, I think I kind of missed my window of opportunity for sharing our whole beef.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
have made such a great video to show, like, this is all of the bones that we got, and look at it. How many coolers with bones in it do I have?
Yes. Well, you'll just have to do it next time because you're going to eat
I
through that
will.
cow eventually. Okay, so
know.
Chris is mentioning it was a n=2 experiment because he did it with a lady. So it was not just that he was a man,
Oh,
but Beverly also had the same effect, which is crazy.
it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on that note, we got to go manage our humans,
Kids. All right.
manage our households,
Yes. Yes, we do.
make sure that
Okay.
everybody's being fed properly and not starving.
Yes, both things are very important. Fed properly and not starving.
Yes.
All
It's
right.
not the same coin flipped over.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.